Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Dad is in Control podcast. My name is Brian Chauvin, and I'm the founder of Dad is in Control. So yesterday I was listening to a podcast, and it prompted me to have an amazing conversation with my kids. So yesterday we were doing our chores after school. We were vacuuming, we were doing all these things, and we're having some fun. And I noticed my kids not really applying themselves at the chores that I asked. Whether it was doing dishes, vacuuming, tidying up the bedrooms, whatever it was, they just weren't all there. So I sat them down in the living room and we talked about applying ourselves. And this was prompted by another podcast that I listened to that I love. But in the context of the conversation, I said, son, how you do anything is how you do everything. Whether you're playing hockey, practicing hockey, or in a game, or if you're cleaning your room. I said, how you guys just did your chores, is that how you show up at school or how you show up at hockey? And they all answered pretty much at the same time, well, no. I said, when we allow ourselves to do things half-ass, we do everything else half-ass. Our brain thinks it's okay to apply that much effort. So I expect you guys to try. I expect these things to be done properly. I expect you to give your all, because when you give your all, things get done amazingly. See, as parents, it's extremely hard to watch our kids struggle. It's extremely hard to watch them do things that are extremely hard or that they're having a hard time with. We don't want to see them struggle. We don't want to see them suffer, but it's necessary. It's entirely necessary, because I don't know about anybody, I can't speak for anybody listening to this podcast, but I've struggled significantly through my lives. Now, maybe not as much as some people, whether I'm comparing myself to Eric Thomas or David Goggins or some of these guys that I look up to that I know suffered. I've never been homeless, but I've struggled. You see, my parents have allowed me to feel uncomfortable. They have watched me feel uncomfortable, and they've made me ask for help. You see, in my household, I try not to come to the rescue. I try to make them come to me and ask for help. I try to educate them rather than doing the task for them, whether it's opening a jar of pickles or doing math homework. I try to educate and teach, use it as an opportunity, because how you do everything is how you do anything, period. So it's ultra important for us as parents to teach our kids to deal with the struggle, to work through it, to grind through it. Because how else are they going to learn? When they become a 24, 25-year-old kid and they're out of the house and they're problem solving, you're not going to be there. So it's super important for you as a parent to teach them how to deal with this, to teach them to think strategically. But just because I am a parent, just because I'm talking to you about this on the podcast, doesn't mean I am guilt-free in this process. So, as I said before in these previous podcasts, I go to the gym 3, 4, 5 days a week religiously. It's a non-negotiable. I have to. It's part of my routine. It's part of the way I want to feel energetically. It makes me feel better. But when I go to the gym, the last couple of months, I've noticed that I'm just punching the clock. I'm doing things and I'm lifting and I'm applying myself, but I'm not really there. I'm not really present. I'm not really trying. So the other day I went out and I seeked out a hill. And I ran this hill, up and down this hill, for an hour. It was cold. It was -5. I had my toque on. I had a coat on. And I hate running and I hate hills. So I forced myself to get uncomfortable. And I promised myself I was going to go for an hour, regardless of how I felt, regardless of what I thought, regardless of what happened. Rain, snow, shine, it didn't matter. So, running up and down this hill, I was tired. I was crabby. I was out of breath, I was sore, and then I thought to myself, this is just my mind telling me to stop, telling me to be safe. And then I kept going and I kept punching through it, and I vomited. And I kept going, and I went up the hill another couple of laps, and then I vomited again, and I kept going, and I pushed through, and I kept persevering, breaking through these barriers, pushing myself. And at the end of the hour mark, I stopped. And I sat down at the top of the hill, and I looked. There was no fancy finish line. There was no cheering. There's no victory beers. It was just me. with some kind of a sadistic smile on my face, knowing that I pushed through all of this bullshit, that I kept going, and I applied myself 100%. I don't think I could have done any better. And I was proud of myself. This is the sense of accomplishment. This is the pushing, the uncomfort that I'm talking about. So I challenge you guys, take a look at yourself. Are you just punching a clock in some aspect of your life? Is it physically, emotionally, spiritually, maybe in your marriage, maybe in your relationships with your kids, or environmentally? Or are you applying yourself everywhere? And I promise you guys, 90% of the people that are listening to this podcast, there's some aspect of your life that you're just punching a clock in, that things are great and you're coasting. But I challenge you, get uncomfortable every single day. So today is Tuesday when I'm recording this video. I have a busy day of meetings, but in the back of my car, right here behind me, I have my gym bag, and I have my running shoes, and I have a sweater, and I'm gonna go run that goddamn hill again for another hour, up and down and up and down. Why? Because it challenged me, because I need to get uncomfortable, because I don't ever want to be comfortable, and I want to teach my kids that it's okay to get uncomfortable every single day. That's the lesson I want them to learn from me. The other aspect of this podcast that I want you guys really to embrace is to teach your kids about suffering. I've suffered. My family has suffered. They've watched us suffer. When my wife was in the hospital battling cancer, we were suffering financially. We were suffering in my relationship. I was suffering in my own skin. And I talked to my kids about that. We shared that because I'm not perfect. Because I want them to see that although I'm suffering, we still have to create time, we still have to be there, and we still have to apply ourselves. Because as I said before, as this podcast, as my coach said, how you do anything is how you do everything. And that matters in life. How you show up matters. How you show up for your family, how you show up for your kids, how you show up for yourself matters. So I urge you guys to do this. Take a list, write down a note. Everything that you're doing, that you're just punching a clock, that you're just checking in each and every day. And level up. Apply yourself. Make a conscious effort to become better. Because if you don't, what's going to happen? What's going to happen if you wait? So, that's my message for today. Men, if this is a conversation that you want to continue having, if you want to learn more about taking back control, join our free Facebook group. You can search on Facebook for Dad is in Control Facebook group, or head on over to dadisincontrol.com. Click the button to join the free group. It's that easy. Join a group of men that are like-minded, that want to grow, that want to become better versions of themselves, where you can ask for advice or you can lend advice. You can reach out, and there's no judgment. Just a group of men that want to help men. And that's it. That's my message for today, guys. So until next time, have an amazing day, and we'll see you on the inside of the group.